Living with Asperger Syndrome, written by Jeremy Tolmie, narrated by Jimmy Nelson. Chapter 1. About Asperger Syndrome. Asperger Syndrome symptoms. An individual's symptoms and level of functioning can range from mild to severe. An individual may have all or only some of the described characteristics. They may exhibit more problems in unstructured social settings or new situations that involve social problem-solving skills. Social problems. Although these children may express an interest in friendships, they have difficulty in making and keeping friends and may be rejected by peers. Often these children are loving and affectionate with their immediate family. Socially inappropriate behavior for their age. Lack of understanding of age-appropriate social cues, including gestures and nonverbal communication. Difficulty judging personal space. Difficulty understanding others' feelings or showing empathy. Rigid social behavior due to an inability to spontaneously adapt to variations in social situations. Abnormal communication patterns. Awkward or inappropriate body language, including limited use of gestures and absent or inappropriate facial expressions. Unusual formal style of speaking. Difficulty understanding non-literal and implied communication. Impairments in the modulation of volume, intonation, inflection, rate, and rhythm of speech. Speech may be tangential, consisting of unconnected topics, and circumstantial, giving significantly excessive detail about a topic, often including irrelevant comments. Conversation style characterized by marked wordiness. Difficulty with give and take of conversation. Lack of sensitivity about interrupting others. Activities. Intense interest in a particular, often very restricted or immature subject that dominates the individual's attention. Inflexible adherence to routines, has repetitive routines or rituals. Apprehensive about change, may have difficulty transitioning from one activity to another. Sensory sensitivity in some individuals with Asperger syndrome. Excessive sensitivity to sound, touch, taste, light, sight, smell, pain, and/or temperature. Excessive sensitivity to the texture of foods. Motor skill delays in some individuals with Asperger syndrome. History of delayed development of motor skills. Visible clumsiness and poor coordination. Deficits in visual motor and visual perceptual skills, including problems with balance, manual dexterity, handwriting, rapid movements, rhythm, and imitation of movements. People with Asperger syndrome can have other associated psychiatric conditions or may show behaviors that are typical for other conditions. Some common associated conditions include the following, but these are not always present in everyone with Asperger's. Attention deficit hyperactivity disorder, ADHD, anxiety disorder, oppositional defiant disorder or other disruptive behavior disorders, depression or other mood disorders. I really want people to know and try to understand what it is like for us, people that have to live with autism. Most people have no idea how hard it is and what it takes for us to do the most simplest tasks. If they could just know what we have to go through, they would be more able to help us in our journey and try to make it easier for us to be able to be whom we are. Chapter 2. A little bit about me. Hi, my name is Jeremy Tolmie. I am 30 years old and have Asperger syndrome. I am a certified computer technician, having graduated from Academy of Learning with my computer service technician diploma with honors. I work for Literacy Central Vancouver Island as a computer technician. I refurbish donated computers that go to families with kids on welfare. I live with my parents in a 500 square foot bachelor pad. They converted the carport into a living space for me. It has a walk-in closet and a full bathroom. I just share the laundry room, kitchen, and dining room. I love computers, hockey, Star Trek, video games, alternative music, crime TV shows, most movies except romantic comedies, Lord of the Rings, Harry Potter, most fantasy and sci-fi books, movies, and games, Netflix, Apple products, reading, writing, and blogging, Facebook, cartoons, comics, and so much more. I run 2 blogs and I'm writing a book on what it has been like for me growing up with Asperger syndrome and not knowing it until I was 17. My blogs are at www.facebook.com/Jeremy Tolmie author page and Living with Autism by Jeremy Tolmie aspergers.blogspot.ca. I am always up to making new friends on Facebook, FB, and getting new followers for my blogs. I am also always up to talking to people about what it has been like for me, or about anything that they want to talk about. I am way more social on Facebook than I am in person. That is why I love Facebook, and I'm glad that it is around so I can feel good about being social and giving me the time I need to make conversations. It's a catch-22 being high-functioning because I am too high-functioning to get any real help, but not high-functioning enough to keep a job or live on my own. I've gone through 5 jobs in the last 6 years so far, and it does not look like it's going to get much better. I am 18 months older than my brother, but have not spoken to him in 10 years. I was adopted at 18 months and did not find out about him until 10 years ago. We met once and he is so much like me, it's amazing. He doesn't look like me, but his mannerisms are so similar, you would automatically know that we were brothers. He got to grow up with my birth mother till she died when he was 14. I never got to meet her, so all I have is what my brother said about her, and what my blood grandmother said, and what was in her medical file. She died from a brain tumor, so that is how I found out about them at all. The docs got in touch with my parents to get me tested when I was 16. The doc's first diagnosis, DX, was obsessive-compulsive disorder, OCD, at 16. A year later they said pervasive developmental disorder not otherwise specific, PDD-NOS. Then 6 months later said autism spectrum disorder, ASD, Asperger syndrome. It is just so frustrating to feel like you should be able to do all the normal stuff that everybody else does, and that it should not be this hard or difficult. That there is no rhyme or reason for how much anxiety you feel all the time. That it should not be this hard to talk to people and keep friends. It really is hard to deal with sometimes. I just wish the good days would outweigh the bad days once in a while. I hate when people ask how I feel. I have no freaking idea how I feel, so stop asking me this, please and thank you. I could not tell you or anyone how I'm feeling at any given time. I might be able to tell you if it is a really strong emotion that I'm feeling, but otherwise I have no clue. I love music and have loved music since the first time I heard it. I love singing to music, dancing to it, listening to it. Anything with music is a passion of mine. I calm down drastically when listening to music, so whenever I get upset or I'm starting to have a meltdown, I grab my iPod, plug in the earphones, and play some music, and it calms me right down in no time. I did not start to read for fun until I was 18 and my parents bought me the first Harry Potter book. Till then I thought reading was just a waste of time and would have nothing to do with it. Since then I've become a big-time reader and have read more than 50 books for fun. I'm 5'8" and weigh 114 pounds. I have next to no muscle tone in any of my body, and even less in my left arm, which is pretty much useless. Thank God I'm right-handed because I cannot use my left hand for anything except typing and holding onto utensils. I cannot move my left hand to cut food, so I hold the fork in it while I use my right to cut the food, then take the fork in my right hand to eat with. I cannot even move it to print with or catch with or anything. It's so annoying. When they test my academic skills, it shows that I have grade 2, age 7 writing, grade 4, age 9 spelling, grade 6, age 11 reading, and grade 9, age 13 math skills. That was done 8 years ago when I was 22. I am on buspirone, Atvian, and Risperdal. The buspirone is for my anxiety, the Atvian is for when I'm having a meltdown or really need some sleep, and the Risperdal is for day-to-day treatment of some of the more unwieldy symptoms that I suffer from, like seeing stuff that is not there or hearing stuff that is not there. It does not happen all the time, but when I am really stressed out, my mind starts to play tricks on me, and the voices get out of control and make me do stuff that I regret afterward. That is why I have a hard time keeping a job. I was never medicated for ADHD. I was for the OCD symptoms, and it was a nightmare. For me, antidepressants caused me to get many times worse. I found turn-based computer games to help a lot, like Civilization and games like that. They're educational and fun. I always knew that I was different from other kids my age, but I never really thought of myself as having more than just a mild learning disability. So it was not really that hard or difficult for me, but I think it was for my parents to see how I was treated by other kids. I had a couple of good friends, and whenever I lost a friend, I usually found one or more to replace them with. I'm still getting used to all of the symptoms, and more seem to crop up or get worse every year. I never had an aid worker or got any treatments. I guess it helps to get the DX early, not like me starting at 17. That is way too late to be of much good. I had to do all the regular classes and courses. I had to fend for myself. Teachers never paid me the slightest bit of attention. I never got any help from teachers to teach me anything. I had to teach myself how to do everything. I was expected to do everything a regular kid has to do at each stage of the game. I guess I should have asked for help because I sure could have used it. I really hate September and October. September always reminds me of going back to school, and that meant a new teacher and a new classroom to try to remember. I hated going back to school. Within a week or two I would be fine. I just hated the going back part, not the school part. I did not mind school so much as the change in routine. October is Thanksgiving up here in Canada, plus I have my mom's and my grandma's birthdays and Halloween to deal with. It's just too much to deal with in a short period of time is all. Christmas and New Year's were not much better for me also. I never get any sleep on Christmas Eve. I think it goes back to when I was 5 and I was determined to catch Santa in the act of putting out the presents. I stayed up all night and caught my parents in the act. That was the end of the illusion of Santa for me. There are not that many disabled people that I get to see every day, and the average tantrum I see is from preschoolers not getting what they want from their parents. I am a very independent person, so I see a lot more meltdowns than my parents do. The ones they do see, I usually never ask them, "What's wrong with that kid?" because I have been there and I kinda know what is wrong. Plus, I've always been told, if you have nothing good to say, then don't say anything at all. I got that a lot because I would say what was on my mind, and it used to never be good. My parents would never tell me more than if I asked something like that, they would say the same thing. If you have nothing good to say, then don't say anything at all. I hate speaking in public. It gives me a total meltdown every time I have to do it. I'm not all that successful yet. I live at home, work 1 day a week, and clean the house 1 other day a week. I have just been published to do not make any money other than what the government gives me. I work as a volunteer and only get $30 a week from my parents for keeping the house clean. I think of all the crazy things I asked for Christmas and my birthday, like a horse, dirt bike, go-kart, hovercraft, trip to space, a pet T-Rex. Compared to something like a new game, or book, or comic, or upgrade to my computer, or even a dog or cat seems small compared with some of the stuff I thought up for myself. Most of my dreams come true for me. I'm always having moments where I feel like I've already done them before, and then realize that I had a dream of doing the exact same thing. I think that my whole life has already been planned out and I'm just going along for the ride. I also have major anxiety issues and have a hard time adjusting to any change period. The start of school was very hard on me, and I still get upset come September because of the start of the school year. I have been DX'd with social phobia also, so it is a double whammy if I have to change and have new people involved in the new change. When I was 12, we moved, and it was really hard on me. I did not say anything to my parents about how hard it was. It took me 3 years to get adjusted to the new house and location. I acted really bad for those 3 years and got into a lot of trouble. I skipped 2 months of school without my parents knowing till one of the teachers bumped into them at the grocery store and asked if I was all right because I had missed the last 2 months of school. I also racked up $500 in long-distance phone charges in 1 month, phoning movie studios and threatening to sue them for movies that used names that I had thought of using. That was a really bad time in my life, but it did get better. I wouldn't share with anyone. It did not matter who they were. My parents kept having to tell me that I had to learn to share my stuff. I got over it eventually, but it did take a very long time to learn the art of sharing. I was 17 when I got the DX of Asperger syndrome ASD, so for me I would have liked to have known much sooner than that, so that I could have had the proper support in school. I look, act, and seem very much like my blood brother, and I only got to see him once 10 years ago. It was really freaky because we never grew up together, and yet we are so much alike. He has the same mannerisms, body language, speech patterns, and everything. It makes you wonder how much nurture has to do with it, or if it is mostly nature. The genetic code that binds you together is stronger than anything on the planet. I watch crime TV shows and medical dramas. I play virtual hockey games and watch hockey on TV. I blog about what it was like growing up as me. I read fantasy books and listen to their audiobooks. I play strategy games on the computer and fiddle with the computer to try and keep it in perfect working order. This is what I do these days to make me happy. I played the drums, piano, and trombone and got good at each one of them.